All right, I'm not half the cameraman that
We're good to go.
that Ben is here. But it's a beautiful, beautiful day out here in Chandler, Arizona. It's absolutely dumping. Well, not at my house, but not far from here.
This is a good rain we're getting. Look.
We're getting a few drops.
Okay, well, tonight we are installing the Recirc valve for the Focus ST. Again, this is something on the Focus ST that once you're pushing past stock power, it can easily fail. It's just a plastic part, so Mountune makes a really nice piece that we're going to get installed tonight. And also, Bradley is cameraman tonight. I am the mechanic under his guidance, so we're going to do some learning as well. And it should be interesting, so we're going to get started. In the Mountune pack, and again, if you're looking for this part, here's the part number that you can look up on their website. But it comes with some color directions, which is nice. So we remove the right wheel, so we have access to the Recirc valve through here. And then we need to use a ball head Allen key to undo the 3 retaining bolts that hold the current one in place. So that's what we're doing, and we have some lighting in here to help out with that. So it's definitely not an easy place to work in. You have to have your hand in the right position and have the proper lighting.
Make sure that it's fitting in there just right.
Yeah, it is.
We may need to mess around with different lengths of extensions and stuff.
Yeah.
In order to get in there just right. It feels like it's fitting just right though, right? You don't feel any slack in there. I just want to make sure we don't strip any of them out.
Yeah.
Not sure how much you cuss in your videos, but you might have to edit that one out.
I edit it out. There it is. Ow!
First one out. 2 to go. Yeah, that's perfect size right there.
That's hot.
Awesome. Was that the top one you did first?
That was the...
Bottom left.
Yeah.
So you did the easiest one first?
Yes.
Okay.
By far.
Yeah,
Top
you may need to finagle in there a little bit differently for the other 2.
Yeah, the top one is going to be the hardest. Maybe I should go with that one next.
All right, 2
I
out.
was just trying to...
Where are they at?
Right here.
Here they are.
I just attempted to get the 3rd one out with just this. It did not work.
I think you're going to need something on the end of that.
Yeah, I'm going to try this. So far, it is not...
Not too bad?
No, it's really not. I took out the hardest bolt just now. I think it's going to be a lot different getting it back in. And there's not too many engine components in here that are like really hot when I reach in there, so that's nice too. Let's get this final bolt. We might have to take out...
Did you hear her keys slapping against the side of her car?
She doesn't give a shit.
It's my crazy neighbor, Connie. Hi, Connie. Hey, your umbrella's inside out.
All right, so all of the bolts, as you can see, have come off. There's 3 of them in there. So we popped that off. Now there's this little hose clamp. I don't know how good you're able to see that, but it's right there. So we're going to take these pliers, we're going to squeeze that together and pop the vacuum off. And then we're going to be able to pull out the plastic bypass, or the Recirc valve, and put in the one from Mountune.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get in there and get it just right. As soon as you squeeze it, you got to squeeze it and then be able to pull it off at the same time.
Okay, might want to do this lefty.
There you go. So once you have that depressed, then you got to kind of just push it and try to get it to... You can wiggle it back and forth with your left hand, and don't be afraid to squeeze that hard with your left hand, just like that. Just got to keep working it. Hot?
I don't even know if it was actually hot, I just get freaked out.
Yeah.
Alright, so here's the stock bypass valve. If you look at it, it's just a piece of plastic. And then there's the spring that fits inside. And what Bradley was saying, basically, you know, as this pressurizes and builds up, it will then release the air that the engine doesn't need, right? That's what the bypass valve's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, this upgrade valve, first of all, the piece is machined. I mean, it is beautiful. It has the Mountune logo. It's high density metal. It's really nice, really well built, and the spring is already built in here, so you can actually press this down. Now the reason I'm replacing it is when you're pushing more than stock power, this can sometimes fail, and that air will go back into the engine, can potentially damage your turbocharger. Again, I have an exhaust. I don't have a tune or anything yet. I'm probably not pushing much past stock power, but it's just a reassurance thing. I think it's a good piece to get in your engine just to prepare for something like that. So now the thing is to get this back in. It's just this piece. It's going to fit using the same flange the stock one used, as you can see here. So it'll fit, it'll pop up right through there. We'll just get it bolted on. I think the hardest part's probably going to be getting that hose on there.
And the screws, huh?
Yeah, the screws are good too.
Don't forget about the screws.
Yeah, we got a long road ahead, but good piece. Excited to get in there.
All right, so it looks like we got it in.
Yeah.
You got the last screw in there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you want to torque them? Let's torque them right. What is it? How many nanometers does it say? Nanometers.
Nanometers. 10 nanometers.
Nanometers.
Yeah, or 7.4 foot-pounds.
7.4 foot-pounds. So
Foot-pounds of nanometers.
Foot-pounds of nanometers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know if my torque wrench does 7.4 because that's such a low number.
Right. Yeah.
I think the lowest it does is like 10.
Okay.
So we'll have to do it by hand, but I would say just get it snug by hand and then just maybe do like a quarter of a turn with the wrench. Should be roughly 7 to 8, maybe 10. Even if you torque them to 10, it should still be okay.
All right, I just got the 3 bolts put back on there. Let's see how far I can wedge this camera in there. But there's the 1 bolt that you can see on the left. It's right there. There's this one right here, and there's another one. Oh, you can actually see it right above that hose there up top. So I got those 3 bolted on. Again, it does say in the directions here to get them to 10 Newton meters, but we don't have something to torque that. So I just got it to pretty firm and then turned it about maybe a centimeter more in rotation, just so I could be sure it was tight. So I think that's good enough. Got those clamps back on there that you can see. So those are all done as well. So those are all clamped up. We're all good to go here. I'm gonna start up the car shortly, just make sure everything looks right, and put the wheel back on, and then on to the next upgrade. Kind of one of the amazing things I was looking at just when I pulled the wheel off is just how big these brakes actually are. It's pretty serious brake. Looks like about a 13-inch, 13 and a half maybe. Pretty nice size brakes. The Ford logo right there. Quick detour job. We are going to replace the spark plugs. I was given these spark plugs in the Mountune Performance Pack that I got a while back, which included the exhaust. It included this intake hose that you see here, the rear motor mount, and then the spark plugs. We're going to go ahead and replace those. I think did it say they're 1 step colder? Where are those even at? So are these pre-gapped though?
Yes, they are. We can check the gap on them.
Okay.
It needs to be up to a .030.
And explain to all the homies, including myself, what does it mean to gap a spark plug?
Well, I'm no expert, but
Well, give us the general. No hate comments, I'll delete them.
there's the electrode, and then there is the I don't even remember what this thing is called.
Okay.
It's the arm that sends the spark between the electrode and the base of the plug itself.
Okay.
Anyway, the gap between the end of the electrode, the very, very tip of it, and the bottom of that arm, it needs to be gapped to a specific distance, to a certain distance. And so they recommend for an ST with mods, like especially if you're going to do high boost, big turbo, anything like that.
Yeah.
They recommend a point 0.26 to 0.28. For a stock ST, a point 0.030, I believe, is stock on this car.
Okay.
And it's pretty standard, unless you're doing like 350 plus horsepower or something like that, or you're getting up into bigger numbers. You really don't need a smaller gap. If you're tuning the car, maybe a little bit smaller gap would be beneficial. But in my experience, I haven't really noticed a big difference. The only thing, really the thing you're trying to avoid is detonation.
Yeah.
these are your coil packs.
Yeah.
These 4 here. So these little guys come off. So there are little locks on them here. This pops right off. You want to make sure you're pulling on the clip and not on the wire.
Okay.
Because if you're not careful, it'll break. I try to put them all back in the one that they came out of.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Not necessarily that it makes a big difference, but that's just where they've been home ever since the car was made, you know?
Up in the streets of Detroit.
You're going to need a spark plug socket,
Okay.
which I just so happen to have one here. It's got a little rubber stopper inside of it. It's a 5/8. Anybody that's worked on a car before pretty much knows what this is. It's going to go right down inside. You want to do this when the engine's warm. You want to be able to touch the engine like this,
Okay.
but you want it to be warm. If it's cold, you got a chance to strip one of these things out as you're trying to pull it. You don't want it to be hot either, though, because it's an aluminum head, if I'm not mistaken, and so it expands and contracts quite a bit. And these threads, you can break the threads off inside of here, and if you do that, you're screwed.
Damn.
You got to bring it to the dealership, and you're talking, I don't even know how much, thousands to get it fixed. That's the one thing you definitely don't want to do. But as long as they bust free and they're coming out nice and easy like this one,
Yeah.
you're good to go.
Cool.
And so that should come right on out. Your original plug.
Yeah. And now how does that look? Because I've seen people pull these off and they...
That looks fantastic. It's got a great little semi-orangish, blackish, very little residue.
Yeah. So after 20,000 miles,
oh, that looks
this
fantastic.
ST is in good shape.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a 100,000 mile plug.
Yeah.
So
the Denso Iridium ones that we're putting in now are
probably another 100,000 mile plug.
And what is beneficial that they're Denso Iridium? It's a harder metal, right?
Well, 1314s, if I'm not mistaken, the research that I've done, the 1314 model had originally came with an NGK plug.
Okay.
And then somewhere before the 15s came out, I don't know if it was before or during, but the 1516 model, somewhere in production, they actually have a new plug that was technically already one step colder.
Okay.
So they say that the 1516s come with a quote 1 step colder plug. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not.
Yeah.
But there's tons and tons and tons of forum information and guys talking about the types of plugs that they're doing, what's available and what's a step colder and what's not.
Right.
I know that it goes from 2 to 11, I believe.
Okay.
And the higher the number, the colder the plug.
Right.
I think this one comes with a 6 or a 7. I think it may come with a 6, and then the step colder would be a 7. I'm not positive though.
Someone in the comments will know. All right. So does this little tool have a name? Gapping tool.
Yeah, just a gap tool, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
I think there's a fancy name for it, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, the box says that this one is a .028, and you want this thing to fit in there just with enough to rub on the top and the bottom, but to be able to come in and out nice and smooth the way that it is. So this plug has been pre-gapped pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I usually just drop them in one at a time here.
All right.
And we'll pull them, each of them out, and then drop the new one in as we go down the line.
Cool.
And then we'll tighten them up.
So do you tighten them to 10-pound feet?
Yeah, just about. You can do them a little tighter, but you just want to be careful not to do them too tight. And we will use a torque wrench for this.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool tool.
Yeah, they come in handy, that's for sure. And you want to hold it right at the very end, because that's where you're getting where you'll get the proper torque from.
Okay.
That one's already good.
So you pretty much had it by hand.
Almost.
So if someone doesn't have a torque wrench at home, then what would you say? After it hits tight, do a quarter turn or something?
Yeah,
or don't test. You always get a torque wrench.
I would honestly, with something like this, I really like to use a torque wrench.
Yeah,
just to be on the safe side.
Pretty.
But if I had to do it by hand, I would do a quarter turn would be okay.
Yeah.
You just got to be really careful, because if you screw this up, these bad boys back in one at a time. Yep, you're just fine.
Alright, it is in neutral.
Good.
Clutch is engaged.
Sounds great.
So that concludes tonight. We got the spark plugs done. We got the recirculation valve done. The other day we flipped the motor mount to get that done correctly. So we're looking good. What we have left is the exhaust hangers, just a harder rubber, and then also the charge pipe that goes to the intercooler. And I think that connects to the turbo, doesn't it? That's what we think. We'll see.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's it. So again, shout out to Bradley for helping out. He's been battling in the comments from that last video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.